I know it sounds like I'm almost defending my drug use, and it sounds like a lot of denial. I need to go off on a little anti-drug tirade just to put things in better perspective. The last couple of months when I was doing $400 worth every day, I was definitely noticing things about my memory, and I knew that eventually my health would start getting a lot worse. I used it basically as a pain medication to get rid of a pain. That's the biggest reason why I did it. And in that sense, I don't regret it. But anybody else who's going to get addicted to drugs are obviously going to fuck up their lives eventually. If it doesn't take a year, it'll be next year, you know. It's so obvious. I mean, I've seen it happen with every person that ever gets strung out. It's a typical classic case that drugs are bad for you and they will fuck you up.
I have to go be, under like a doctor's care all the time because of what I did to myself. And I did it out of ignorance, and I wouldn't want to see anyone else do it. It's just, you're just sentencing yourself to a life of misery and slavery. And somehow I've been one of the luckier people. I'm almost 40, and I'm still alive, and it doesn't make sense. And I want to keep living, So I'm going to try and keep out of trouble.
Being reliant on something, on a substance, in order to be able to get up and and do anything, and to be able to deal with people, and to be able to feel comfortable in any given situation, to have to be loaded was sort of a crutch that I didn't necessarily believe in. I thought it made me basically a weaker person. The thing that I would substitute for the dope was I'd start drinking heavily, and I felt that was acceptable. And I drank harder than pretty much anybody that I knew. And then finally, I had a situation where I had alcohol poisoning, and it just about killed me.
The typical story of starting to need it, and then it became just like this maintenance. And it was a constant fog, and a lot of things I can't remember. Blackout drinking was not good. Getting in fights, all kinds of, a trail of destruction, the cliche of that. Basically, my wife threw me out of the house and said, goodbye. It took that shock, and fear is a pretty good motivator. Because I certainly didn't want to stop drinking even then. But I knew that I couldn't live without my family. That was more important.
I overdosed and killed myself for about 4 minutes. When you come out of something like that and you wake up, and you're A, embarrassed, B, you see how it affects everybody around you. I used to wake up and dread the day, Wake up, every time I go to bed, I'd just be like, ugh, I can't really face tomorrow. And really, it was not me speaking, it was depressants, so to speak. So, it's basically common sense. It's tough at the time when you're going through something like that. It's tough to see the big picture, but it's pretty easy. Omit that stuff, live happier.
I took drugs like it was going out of fashion. Taking dope is a doper's attitude. It's like a freak. I'm not a freak. I've got a talent, a God-given talent, to give to people. What I want to spoil it for by taking drugs? Drugs is for fools, man. Until you say to yourself, I want to kick it, That's the only time you'll kick it.
It's just like, it's too easy to fuck up, and it's too good for people to deal with. The buzz must be fantastic. I've never had it, but I mean, it must be great because people die for it,
Yeah.
And they spend their entire lives looking for the next shot, I mean, it's fucking terrible shit, It really makes you into a dog, and then it kills you, Makes you into a thief and a whore, and then you die in a public toilet with an embolism in your fucking arm. I don't think so,
Drugs, they seep into your life. You're not really aware of it at first. Getting in is easy, getting out is difficult. It took me a while. And don't recommend it really to anybody, except that what happens is what happens. It seemed perfectly natural at the time, and nobody was arguing, So I went ahead.
I believe that the people who have done good things on drugs could have done good things without drugs, and I believe that they would have also had the added bonus of their life not falling apart. You know, I think that drugs every time make people's lives fall apart. Sometimes it happens gradually, sometimes it happens quickly, but it always happens. And if you dedicate every second of every day to being as creative as you can be, you can live a way richer life with more variety of feelings and making other people feel good as well every minute of the day with no drugs, you know.